You're a man. You are a man. Stand up and be a man.
We're gonna have wins, we're gonna have losses.
The difference is, how do you look at it? How do you approach it? How do you deal with it? How do you admit it and see it for what it is? And then what do you do about it? What do you do about it? You cry about it, you mope about it, you drink about it, you sleep around about it, you get mad and get in fights about it, you just hang around, just turn the world out, just zombie about it, you fry yourself with marijuana about it. Say, Dwayne, I'm sad. Dude, that's a part of life. You think you're the only man on this planet that's sad? Say, Dwayne, I'm going through depression. Well, welcome to the world. Welcome to the rest of us.
And that was when, like, the reality of the situation of, like, there was no escape. There was no one who was going to come to save me.
Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. We are now around soft men and hard times.
There's a lot of men struggling right now. There's a lot of men, if you know, I talk about it a lot, that if you look at the stats around suicidality in the UK, the thing that's most likely to kill someone between the age of like 18 and 40 is themselves, for a man.
Do we really not know what it is to be a good man? And I would go so far as to say to be a good human being, right? Because take responsibility for what you're doing, take ownership of your life. Go do something that's hard. Go try and accomplish something that's hard. You may win, you may lose, you may succeed, you may fail. I'll tell you what, you'll be better. If you avoid those things that are hard, if you don't accept that challenge, if you don't step up and step into that cold water, and you sit on your couch and eat Doritos, I can tell you this is not a good move. This is not a good move. Don't do that.
It seems like, especially with confidence, right, or self-esteem, there's a relationship between confidence and competence. Mm-hmm. So what you're looking to do is try and have what you believe that you can do be ahead of what you can do. Right. Now, you're not looking for it to be delusional. You don't want it to be able to believe that you can do something like fly, right? But you need to have a relationship between the two. But what people are asking for is for their confidence to be so far ahead of their competence or without having even been competent at anything in the beginning. And that's just delusion, that's fantasy.
The life you want is on the other side of a few hard conversations, and you're living a life you hate because you're too afraid to have them.
Add some things to that list of what it takes to be a, maybe not a good man, but at least a happy and fulfilled man. One of the words you used is brotherhood. And I was thinking about all the things you got from your time in the SEALs. And it's almost a bit of like a microcosm of what I think a lot of men are looking for. That sense of purpose, that brotherhood. And they find it these days in like video games and stuff, right? Video games, I've got I cast no judgment on people that play video games. I've played video games my whole life. But it seems like there's a reason we're getting like increasingly addicted to these video games, because they're giving us something that we're searching for in real life and not getting. You used the words brotherhood, purpose. These are things that the SEALs clearly have in huge amounts. Is there anything else that you'd add to that list of what it takes to feel fulfilled?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu. It almost has become a joke amongst me, my friends, people that listen to me, is you got some kind of a problem in the world, you got some kind of problem in your life, go train jiu-jitsu. There's a reason why I say that. Because the things that you just mentioned, discipline. Guess what you need to go train jiu-jitsu when you're tired and you don't feel like it? Discipline. Guess how you feel when you're done? You feel awesome, you get a bunch of dopamine. Guess who you're there with? A bunch of dudes that you can relate to. And guess what you're gonna do together? You're gonna struggle. You're gonna go through some hardship together. You're gonna sweat, you're gonna choke, you're gonna get your arm broken. These things are gonna happen. Not gonna get your arm broken, but yeah. But you're gonna be with a little brotherhood. And by the way, women train jiu-jitsu too. My daughters all train jiu-jitsu. It's all good. So yeah, jiu-jitsu is one way. Now look, could you go to the rock climbing gym? Yes, you could. Could you go to the CrossFit gym? Yes, you could. Could you go to the
soccer?
Yeah, the soccer field, football field, whatever. Yeah, you can do that stuff. So yeah, go do that stuff. That's shared suffering together with a group on a regular basis, whether you want to or not. Those are all little components of being in the military, being in the SEAL teams. That's what it is. That's what you're doing. What does a SEAL platoon do? They train to get ready go to war. How do they do that? They go to the desert, they carry their guns, they run through little choreographed moves, they get hot, they carry weight. It's suffering, it's just shared suffering, and they're working together. And they're learning skills. That's what you're doing in a jiu-jitsu gym. That's what you're doing on the soccer field. So go out and do those things with other human beings, and it's gonna make It's going to make things better for sure.
You don't have to feel good about it. You just have to keep going. The feeling will pass, but you will remain. You are greater than your feelings. Going to bed late and waking up early to work for a few days won't kill you. You're not going to burn out. You're doing what it takes. If you're one of those people that push work-life balance, just remember, the people who like working a lot don't care. I've never regretted trying harder at anything ever. Hard times last long, but an epic story feels like a lifetime.
You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. And we don't do that. I'm not trying to send a message of run 200 miles, be the baddest motherfucker in the world, but be tough. You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations and get better. And break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life, because it's gonna come. The devastation, the trauma is gonna come, and you can't allow that to become a Jersey barrier. It can't be a Jersey barrier. It has to be something that you can maneuver through very quickly and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness.
Get up, move towards that challenge, whatever that challenge is. Move towards that challenge and go attack it. And you may be successful and you may not be successful, but you will be better.
At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that.
Extreme ownership is, this went wrong, this failed, didn't accomplish this, and it's not the fault of my boss, it's not the fault of my girlfriend, it's not the fault of my parents, it's not the fault of the weather, it's my fault. And I'm gonna take ownership of it, and I'm gonna fix it. That's what extreme ownership is. And this is a very difficult thing to do because it hurts. Because when you look around at your life, and you look around at your job, and your financial situation, and your relationship, and your physical health, and when you look at all those things, and all the problems that you may have with those things, and you say, the reason I have all those problems is because of me, that can hurt, that can sting. And a lot of times our ego rejects that and makes excuses and lies. And then we don't have to change anything. And then nothing changes.
Well, I believe that you have to build belief. Belief is like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself, and that's all great, but there's also a built belief. And the built belief is one where you are constantly, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of shit kid that I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof, motherfucker. So whenever you think you can't, the confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. It can't be like, hey, I'm gonna knock that shit out. You gotta look over here and say, I can knock that shit out. It's belief, and it's built on what you put in to yourself.
There's a lot of men, if you know, I talk about it a lot, that if you look at the stats around suicidality in the UK, the thing that's most likely to kill someone between the age of like 18 and 40 is themselves, for a man. You know, so men are clearly struggling in some capacity with purpose or meaning or something. So I almost feel like, you know, a lot of these sort of toxic influences of what a man should be have now emerged to offer answers. But I doubt those toxic influences. And I say there's got to be another role model, another sort of blueprint for what it is to show up as a man.
Well, I was going to give you I guess it would have been a real cheap answer of, I think it's Marcus Aurelius, is stop discussing what it is to be a man and be one. I was gonna walk out of here with that one. I'd be like, pretty good question avoidance there. But there's some merit to that, right? And I was almost thinking like, do we really not know what it is to be a good man. And I would go so far as to say to be a good human being, right? Because when a few years ago, there was these discussions going around about toxic masculinity, right? And you take these traditional masculine traits and people were saying this is toxic masculinity and they're bad. And I wrote a couple articles about it. If you take any trait of a human being and you take it to an extreme, masculine or feminine or otherwise, you take it to an extreme, it's going to be a problem. It doesn't matter what it is. So if you take even a really positive trait like generosity, if you're a super generous person, that's wonderful. Is it possible to be too generous? Well, yes, it is. Now you're getting taken advantage of, and now you end up in an abusive relationship. Like, there's all kinds of problems that can happen. So when we talk about masculine traits and what's a man, well, what are some of the traditional masculine traits? To be competitive. Now, is it bad to be hyper competitive where you screw people over and you hurt your health because you want to win in this particular category? Is that bad? Yes, it is. Does that mean we have people that are not competitive at all and they don't care if they win or lose? No, that's not good either. So that's one trait. What's another good aggression? Aggression is a masculine trait. Is it good if I'm walking into a restaurant pushing the hostess out of my way? Of course, that's terrible. It's terrible. Is it good if you and I are working together and I say, hey, shut up and do what I said? Is that good? No, it's not good. So can you take aggression too far? Yes, you absolutely can. Can you get to a point where you're not even asserting yourself at all and you're getting what? Yes, you can. Is that good? No, that's not good either. So there's a bunch of traits that we could run through that are considered traditional masculine traits. And if you take any of those traits and you take them to an extreme, they're gonna be bad. Stoicism, right? Being stoic, being unemotional. Is it good to have no emotions whatsoever? No, that's called a sociopath, right? Is it good, like I was talking about earlier, to let your emotions run your life and make your decisions based on your emotions? No, that's not good either. What do we want to be as a human, as a man? Want to be balanced. You don't want to be extreme in any direction. Even when you ask me like, oh, Jocko, what are you undisciplined on? I told you chocolate chip cookies. I could have also said, yeah, sometimes I like to eat mint chocolate chip milkshakes. Sometimes I get lazy to work out. And you know what? I freaking warmed up and this sucks and I'm leaving. Sometimes I was gonna write something and now I didn't write anything. I'm supposed to write 1,000 words today, I didn't write any, and guess what? I didn't write any tomorrow. I'm a slacker. So if I was so disciplined that, my wife was like, hey, let's go out for dinner. I was like, no, I still gotta write my 1,000 words. Is that good? No, it's not good. So any characteristic, if we take it to extreme, it's gonna be a problem. And so we, as people, should be balanced. And I think what we need to be attuned to is it's much easier to be extreme. It's much easier to say, oh, no emotions, cool, and turn them off. That's easier than, or a total emotion mayhem, that's easier. It's harder to find balance. It's harder to find balance in business, it's harder to find balance in life, it's hard to find balance. And what we have to do is we have to be attuned to the that we're getting. We have to be attuned to the feedback that we're getting. So if we're talking to our wife and she says, you're not gonna be home for dinner again tonight for the 9th night in a row that you're gonna stay late at work, you need to be paying attention enough to say, oh yeah, guess what? I'm a little too focused on work right now. And then the other end of that spectrum is my boss says, hey Jocko, wait, you're leaving early again? Well, it's wrestling season. My daughter's got a wrestling match, so I'm gonna leave. Okay, I need to be attuned enough to say, yeah, if I focus 100% on my job, I'm gonna lose my family. If I focus 100% on my family, I'm gonna lose my job. As humans are supposed to be balanced.
I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and impossible. The fact that something seems impossible shouldn't be a reason to not pursue it. That's exactly what makes it worth pursuing. Where would the courage and greatness be if success was certain and there was no risk? The only true failure is shrinking away from life's challenges.
And you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail, and then you're gonna win. And that's life. Life without those challenges, it's just existence. Don't just exist, go live.